So the first thing I want to do is just read the whereas statement from our most recent bill, because I think it actually, there's a lot of stuff about childhood obesity and before this, and we talk about carbon footprints and food security, but the last statement just frankly and basically states it. Whereas the Legislative Assembly of Oregon finds it is in the best interest of Oregon's children, farmers, fishers, ranchers, food processors, food manufacturers, and communities to empower schools to increase their use of Oregon agricultural products in their school service programs. And then it goes, or food service programs. Then it goes on to actually create in law, not just positions, but the farm to school and school garden program. So regardless of even positions, it's now on the books and in the statutes that this program exists in the state of Oregon. So I'll briefly want to talk about why I care about this, but obviously first and foremost, welcome to Oregon. I don't know that you're going to get far outside of the metropolitan area. My district is down in Salem, which is about 50 miles south of here. It's a state capital, and it's an urban area of 100 and so thousand people, but it's also the leading agricultural county in Oregon. It's got the most sales and agricultural sort of value in Oregon. But that's not why I actually care about it. My district is the urban portion. My constituents do care about supporting farmers, but I'm a grower, and we grow 1 million pounds of pears, apples, and cherries in the Hood River Valley. And so part of why I ran for office in the first place was I was finding it difficult to stay in business, just growing into a worldwide global commodity market. We only have 80 acres, and at one point that seemed really big, but it's really a challenge for the medium-sized grower to survive at all. So one of the things that I thought, well, I could keep working here in the orchard and trying to do fruit stands and figure out value added and see if we can talk our co-op into getting into more programs. And I still do all those things. We have other members of the family now who help a lot more than I do. And at this time of year, I actually help, and I'm on a tractor and working. The rest of the time, I'm down in Salem trying to change agricultural policy in this state to benefit on a much wider basis other growers. But it's more than just that, actually. This particular issue, and I didn't really realize it until a couple weeks ago when I was speaking at a different group, and I saw someone doing a fruit stand across the street from the school. And I just remember the feeling for me the very first time that I actually sold, well, I wasn't even selling, I was sampling fruit. And when I watched a customer eat a piece of one of our apples, and the smile on their face and the disbelief that fruit could taste like this. I mean, we had picked it the night before, and we had it in the fruit stand that morning. And the personal reward to a grower to actually see someone enjoy your product versus it goes into a co-op somewhere, in some country, somebody ate one of our pears. You have no idea who. You just sort of see ever-shrinking returns. And the difference to know why people get into this in the first place, why farmers do this, is because they want to, those of us who grow food, because we want to feed people. But when the system has been turned into this faceless, nameless commodity, you have no internal reward and renewal on a constant basis about how amazing this is. And now that I have a 7-month-old daughter, how amazing it is to think about her getting to chomp on, and she did last weekend. Her grandma cooked a pear down into a little bit of pear porridge, and she got to eat from her family's orchard, which has been there for 100 years, some pear off of one of their trees. And it's just the most amazing feeling for me personally. So that's what drives me more than really anything else. So the thing I wanted to just say about the sort of concept of having regional thinking and regional strength, I think you got two angles on it. You got what can you do regionally to change federal policy, and we've had some success recently with the change in ability to do regional preferencing in the Farm Bill. And so when regions band together, that's more House votes, that's more Senate votes, that's the ability to affect more change at the federal level. But then and Tina referenced it, the ability to borrow ideas from other states and other people. And we all have something very unique and different going on in our different states. And now that I saw some other states that I didn't do my homework on, I had to Google on my phone and see what's going on in Idaho. So I learned that potatoes are not actually the high. I was going to go with the potato thing, and sort of they knew how to brand their product, Idaho potatoes, long before anybody else did. And so now Oregon's just starting to get into trying to brand Oregon products the way that potatoes are, but they're actually, cattle and dairy are ahead of their potatoes, and I don't know that they're branded that same way. Well, cattle are certainly literally branded. So Washington has this, I mean, they have a good farm to school program, but they also have this great initiative that I'm really proud of that I really would like to get going in Oregon, the Future of Farming study. So they're doing, I mean, at some point, potentially a Future of Farming office where they think all about the different challenges that agriculture faces, and they're doing an assessment, and that's aging population in farming, that's commodification, that's lack of, essentially the next generation wanting to do it or being able to do it, that's land supply, that's a whole lot of different things. But they've got this policy going forward in Washington that says we're going to figure out what the future of farming should be in our state and try and make sure that happens. California is certainly one of the strongest farm-to-school programs in the whole country, so we don't need to brag about them more. Montana sent a farmer to the United States Senate. That's pretty impressive. Sending a farmer to the U.S. Senate is something that we don't have anybody on the ballot now who's actually a farmer who does it. I don't believe, at least we got a food processor. That's as close as it gets, I guess. But someday maybe we'll get to emulate you. And then my friend from Hawaii, I go there routinely because I love it, and I go to the farmers markets when I go there, especially in the Big Island. And I don't know what all they do in land use and anything else, but here's the coolest thing that they do. They have this T-shirt. So it's got all the islands. It says "Keep It Rural." And it's got all the Hawaiian Islands, and on the back it says agriculture, not concrete. So, yay Hawaii. So beyond lobbying the feds, it's about learning from each other. And Oregon has done a couple things really exciting besides farm to school. And I know a lot of you are thinking about the lunchroom part, but you have to have agriculture healthy, obviously, too, to provide these things. So Oregon, just in the last, essentially, 18 months, we revisited, I guess would be the polite way to put it, a ballot measure that passed that would have gutted our farmland forever and shrunk it back to where if a farmer wants to put another house or two for their kids, they can, but no more than 3. And there were I don't remember how many, but one project alone was 3,000 houses over prime farmland. I mean, it was hundreds of thousands of new acres of farmland being paved over in our Willamette Valley, and Oregonians changed their own mind just 2 years later and overturned their own ballot measure and adopted something else with the 60+% of the vote turnout. And we also did a major new inheritance tax relief package last session that increases the amount of property that farmers and fishermen and foresters can pass to their children if they're willing to continue to stay in the business, so we don't break up these parcels just due to the passing from one generation to the next. And we took it from about $2 million per parent to about $30 million per parent that you can, or excuse me, $2 million per family, $1 million per parent, to now $30 million. 15 million per parent that you can pass tax-free, and then there's even some help beyond that, but it's not tax-free, it goes down. So a lot of us in a lot of states are getting sort of vibrant, energetic assistance from you across the board. Please keep it up, and please network and share with each other, because we certainly don't need to reinvent the wheel, and we can continue to borrow from each other. Welcome to this beautiful state. If you happen to get down the valley, there are certainly some crops that are still looking really nice right now in Salem, but if you really can get out, I would come to Hood River because it's our harvest time and we're picking all of our winter pears, Anjos and Bosque and Camise and Farrell and Seckel right now, and it's an amazing time to be in Oregon. So thanks for having me, and thank you for coming.